Hi and welcome once again to Study in Turku's alumni series. Today we have Rosa with us, an alumni from the University of Turku. Great to have you here. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very well. It's nice to be here.
A bit of a grey weather, but still okay. At least it's not raining anymore.
Yeah, it's very nice actually, not to sit in the rain.
Yeah. So, could you perhaps start off with talking a bit about your career so far? Tell us a bit about how you have gotten where you are today.
Right. So currently I'm working for the city of Turku, and I'm working as an advisor in International House Turku, and my path started pretty much with the University of Turku when I was studying. So my degree is in education and learning, and as any degree you have to do a work practice. So I started with a project which later on led me to this position, kind of. So that is shortly in a nutshell.
Could you tell a bit more about the process behind choosing your studies? Of course, I guess there were a lot of different opportunities that you could in theory be interested in, but what made you choose exactly this path?
Right. So first of all, if we talk about the university and if we talk about the city, because again, I moved to Turku 3 years ago because of the University of Turku. And one choice that led me to that was when I applied for several universities. Amongst those Turku University, I got a lot of contact from the international office, which kind of made me feel very safe, very wanted, and I felt that support already remotely. So I decided this should be the place that I should be going to, and that was kind of like the strong decision that made me come here. And after that, again, probably networking, trying to be active, and that slowly it led to the position where I'm now.
So if we think about your studies in general, what kind of expectations did you have before you started studying, or did you have even any expectations at all, or did you just think that, okay, this sounds interesting, I will study this?
Obviously, I did have expectations, and one of it being a requirement for my profession, because I am a teacher. So to work as a teacher in Finland, you have to have at least master's degree, and I still needed to complete that step, so to say. So that was one thing as an obligatory step of it. And another step, of course, is the education of Finland being so popular and everybody being so interested, so drawn to it. So I can say maybe I was one of those people who really wanted to check it out and see, is it actually so? And I'm very happy to have done that.
Good. So if we think a bit about the taking the next step from studies to career, you already mentioned a bit about how it happened, but could you perhaps tell more into detail about how was the process from going from a student to let's say a professional or an expert, and perhaps a bit about your feelings as well. Did it feel overwhelming? Was it easy?
Maybe I will start from the feelings and then go into how it kind of happened. It has always been at the same time exciting and feeling that kind of like anxiousness and nervousness, because yes, for the time of the master, you know that during this 2 years or however long it takes you, you have a path, but then when you think it's kind of like very open. So this openness and uncertainty makes it very kind of like feel insecure and anxious, like I mentioned. But how it worked for me very well is because while I was studying, we did get from our coordinators any news or newsletters about, hey, there is an internship possibility, or if you want to do something, you could apply for that. So one day again, I got that kind of news on my university email about a position. And I was informed that I want to do an internship. I could apply for it, which I obviously did. And I got an internship while I was studying. And I started working for a project, which later on led me to the position that I'm working for, pretty much.
So it could perhaps feel a bit weird, when you're kind of transitioning from a student to perhaps a professional, and even in your situation, you were working even during your studies. But was this weird, for you? Kind of suddenly people look up to you and perhaps even expect things from you, and even though you perhaps don't yet have the experience itself.
I think maybe I have not felt it that strongly, partially because also the environment that I work, because it's a very international environment as well. So there might be a lot of people who are in a similar position. So there has been this support all the time. And at the same time, another thing that made me feel more maybe comfortable or not so feeling like now I'm the professional who has to do things, that from the beginning it was made clear that we are all here to learn. So you're not supposed to be this ready product and deliver ready things, but on the contrary, everybody's there to learn at the same time. So I think that has made me feel a lot more comfortable.
Do you feel that your background, within learning, within teaching also has perhaps helped you understand this part a bit better, that no one is ready or perfect when they graduate, but there's a lifelong process of learning?
Definitely, and I would say not only the university, but maybe the whole Finnish culture as well as the working culture have been highlighting that for a long time as soon as I arrived in Finland, understanding that it is a lifelong learning thing, that you're never ready, because that means that actually you're not developing if you are not learning anymore. So in a way, I do think currently that you can never be finally ready, but you just keep on learning and keep on improving.
You also said you have your organization where you're working within, and the work itself, it's extremely international. Do you feel that your studies kind of also helped this part as well? Was it a part of your studies to learn about different cultures, about how you are supposed to meet different kinds of people?
I would say definitely yes, because first of all, my degree, it was in English, so it attracted a lot of international students. So the group that we were studying with, they were people from all over the world, from all the corners of the world, and our teachers and professors were also internationals, as well as locals as well. So it already created that environment where we learned to hear each other out and to cooperate with each other. And we also have had a lot of courses where we would have comparative kind of like studies or talking or comparing data from different countries, just try to understand what maybe is the best way or what good things there are that we can learn from each other. So I think that has been one thing that and later I could carry on with me to another international working environment.
So really a cultural melting pot of some sorts?
In a way, yeah, I could say yes.
If we think a bit about Turku, usually at least the weather is a bit better than this one. I already said that at least it's not raining, and then it's been drizzling a bit all along our discussion. But besides it raining sometimes, how do you feel about Turku in general? Do you have any favorite spots here, or do you have any tips on what you should experience when you live here or even when you're visiting Turku?
Definitely, I think Turku is a very welcoming place, and so far I don't know if I'm in that stage of euphoria, because like I mentioned again that I have moved to live here for 3 years, so maybe it's that part where I'm still in love with the city and I see the positive parts in a way. But talking about the favorite points, I would say definitely it's a very cultural city. So if you're interested in any events, let's say concerts or theater and whatnot, you can find that part as well. Movies, one of my favorite things to do here. The library is great. I like to hang out there as well a lot. And another thing also for people who are interested in eating and who want to try out new foods or new cuisines, I think Turku is again one of the best spots in Finland. So up till now, I'm on this mission of going to possibly a new restaurant every time I go out to eat to discover what other new things may come up, because again, you never know what you might discover, and I think it's kind of like a small adventure. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I read somewhere that actually Turku has one of the highest, seats in pubs and restaurants per the amount of inhabitants in the city. I don't remember in what scale it was it in Europe or in the Nordic countries, but still, I mean, there's a lot of different places to try and different places to eat, and a lot of different kinds of foods and restaurants and pubs as well that you can try here. So
that's very true.
So to perhaps before we end the discussion, I would like to ask you perhaps a kind of a difficult question, but you are free to answer it any way you want. But what kind of tips or life wisdoms would you give to an individual who perhaps is in the same situation where you were a few years ago, or would be perhaps interested in career paths similar to yours? What would you tell them?
That's a very difficult and a good question at the same time, because hopefully it helps certain individuals. I would probably say being open, even though someone might have a lot of expectations, just like you asked in the beginning what expectations I had, but still not to close doors and be open to opportunities, people, because you never know what is coming up towards you. And in here there are a lot of, again, people, possibilities, maybe even like that kind of path that lays in front of you that is going to lead to a work. So I would probably recommend being active, exploring new connections, networks, trying to meet as many people, finding out maybe some kind of circles or people with the same interests, because as soon as you find people who share similar interests, they might lead you to another kind of like step, or again, like a step towards the working life and generally feeling happy and satisfied maybe. Yeah.
Thank you for the wise words. Thank you also for the discussion in general. And thank you, dear viewers, for watching this video. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.